Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nails and Beauty Talk, NFTs, crypto, and Web3. I am your host, Asia the Bird. So I have a very special guest with me today. She is an activist and NFT artist. Please welcome Maliha Abidi. Hello, Maliha. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Aisha. So lovely to meet you, and thank you so much for having me on your show. How are you today?
I've been really good. I've been good. The weather's cold on my end. I'm in in the Washington D.C. area. So how's everything on your end?
Yeah, I mean, I'm based in LA, but at the moment I'm in New Jersey, just spending some time with family,
Mm.
and yeah, it's cold.
Yeah. I can't wait till it hits spring.
Spring,
Yes.
summer.
hmm Yeah, right, exactly. But I definitely want to kick off by asking, where are you from, and tell us a little about your upbringing.
Of course. So I'm originally from Pakistan, and I migrated to United States when I was 14 years old.
Mm,
So I've been here for a bit. Well, in the middle, I moved to the UK as well for several years. So been
hmm
here and there a bit. And my upbringing, my life in Pakistan was amazing. Like I remember having a happy childhood and for the most part and yeah, just really I'm very fond of the memories I have of Pakistan, of growing up
hmm
in Hyderabad and Karachi. So those are the two
Right.
cities that I grew up between. And yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Now, so what are some moments that you can remember in result that fostered your interest not only in art but also in NFTs?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, NFTs can be so many different things because NFTs
Right.
itself is like um, you know, technology. Like it's something that I feel like different creatives can use it for different things. For me, NFTs is art because I
Right.
create NFTs. Um, so um, for me, like I've been creating art for as long as I can remember since I was, a young child. Like, but that's the case for most of us, right? At
Right.
some point in life, we have picked up different colors and created art, and I just kind of kept on going. And it was
Right.
something that really resonated with me. It was like my way of expressing myself and just making sense of a lot of things. And my art became extremely personal to me when I was around 14 years old, because that's
Mhm.
when I was moving from Pakistan to US and
Right.
just processing that move and the new things that I was coming across. I think that like that's when my art really kind of became, I call
Mhm.
it my companion rather than like an activity that I do. So it
Right.
became like this partner that helped me cope with it all.
hmm Yeah, like your art is really, really cool because it kind of reminds me a little bit like Frida Kahlo, Paul Gauguin. Was there any artists in particular that you were really inspired by in regards to your artwork?
um well, thank you firstly for the kind words. In terms of um my influence or artists that I look up to, like there's so many different artists that I love in general. But I
Mhm.
think like there are different parts of human life that
Right.
me every day sometimes inspire me. My upbringing in Pakistan really inspires me. My culture, like
Right.
so I'm Asian, so that really inspires me. Honestly, like as an artist, I'm ever evolving as well.
Mhm.
Because I think like in art age as well, like I'm quite young and my journey in the art industry is quite young as well, so I'm still kind of evolving and yeah, so but definitely so many artists that I read about them, I learn about them. I do wish I got to learn a bit more about women artists and South Asian women artists, or just
Mhm.
in general women of color that are artists, but I don't really get to read a lot about them, not because they don't exist, but just history has not been very kind in giving the same kind of attention to women artists.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. But I definitely want to get into this other thing, because in a recent interview, because I seen it one of the interviews that you talked about, you're studying neuroscience. So what gravitated you into majoring in neuroscience?
Okay, so that basically, like, I am currently not studying that because like NFTs like really like consumed me, and I've been like
Oh,
focused on for, yeah, so I'm like taking a break at the moment. Don't know if I'm going to go back to like neuroscience or not, but at the
okay.
moment, yeah, I'm on a break from it because I'm just focusing on my art. I'm just focusing on the NFT space, on women rise, um,
Hmm.
and just having fun conversations with amazing people like yourself.
All right, that's understandable. But I definitely want to jump into activism. So you're a huge advocate for women's rights and girls' education, especially using your artwork to talk about, anti-racism and child marriage. So tell me about, what would you say was the breaking point which made you use your artwork to speak out about these critical social issues?
So as I mentioned, like earlier in our conversation, that art has helped me make sense of a lot of the things that I have been coming across throughout my life. It started with something really personal, like my migration, and at times it is still very personal. But around the age of 15, 16, 16, yeah, I would say, I started to learn a bit more about, just different things in the American society. And I noticed that how communities of color are treated in the United States.
Hmm.
I saw some things that went down in Muslim communities that we were hearing about it, like within the Muslim community, but the mainstream media was not giving it attention in
Right.
any way. And
Hmm.
that was so weird to me. Was like, and that was kind of like my first sort of sign that, like, is this not is our life like not the same at the same does it not have the same importance,
Right.
or like, this is something that's happening in the United States, why is the media not covering it, or things like that. So
Hmm.
that was really strange to me, and I think, again, to make sense of a lot of it, to process it, but also to, like, to get the word out there. At the time, I had like a very, very small Facebook page because Facebook used to be big back then.
Hmm.
And I just kind of um, started to post art there, talk about it a little bit. And the idea was to spread awareness about it, to, see, can I maybe start conversations within my own circle. And the idea was just to kind of let it all out, spread awareness. And that's when my art came into this. Like, I started to use art for social
Hmm.
justice, or talking about things that are close to my heart.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I like what you're doing, because it really, really, speaks to certain issues, and, people can relate to that. And the thing is, we live in a critical time now where there's a lot of stuff going on, the whole thing with, the pandemic, other issues dealing with women, like child marriages and things like that. So, and it's really, really unfortunate, that these type of issues don't get highlighted, especially, concerning women, and also the thing too, if we had the Black Lives Matter movement, talking about police brutality. So, people, I like how within our generation we're speaking out, most definitely.
Absolutely. And you know even though we're talking about all of these different things and they may sound different, they are connected. Like,
Right.
they are connected. Like, if you're talking about women's rights, for example, women all over the world are treated as second class citizens, but then women of color are, even within countries that where laws are a little bit better, even their women of color are treated like, not as first class citizens.
Right.
um, so there's that. And then, whether you're talking about girls education, child marriage, period poverty, all of these different things are connected.
Mm,
Talking about, like, yeah, like all of these things, like, at least in my mind, I feel like it's it's bigger than us. It's
Right.
bigger than, you know, just like a certain community in a certain part of the world. It's systems overall. And some
Mhm.
of the, I feel like some of the most powerful countries are treating their people the worst.
Mhm. Yeah, right, exactly. But also too, like I seen this documentary as of recently, and it was talking about and within India specifically, with girls' education. And one of the things that, that dropped my jaw, I was like, what? It was like, after, with their education, like before girls hit, 18, they get married. And I'm like, whoa, like, that's crazy, and that's the thing, that's just crazy with child marriage. That's crazy.
18 is actually, I would say that's, I think in many parts of South Asia,
Right.
it's way younger.
Yeah,
Age,
way younger, under 18, yeah.
yeah, under 18. Like, I personally know people who've been married at like 13, 14. It's insane. And
Yeah.
it's, I mean, within their life as well, I saw the chain, you know, how during their periods, they didn't used to feel confident in going to school because, you know, there wasn't enough support. Our uniforms used to be white.
Mhm.
So these white uniforms, so if we have like even, you know, what if like, because we didn't have the right kind of sanitary products. So if we have, let's say, I don't know, even a smallest stain of blood on our white uniform, we're going to be um, ridiculed at school, like by other
Mhm.
students, you know, boys at a young age. Like, you know, it can be like it wasn't openly talked about. Um,
Mhm.
it's not like boys were being taught to not make fun of something like this, or, you know, like comparing that to like um yeah, comparing that, like it was a taboo subject firstly, and then I saw in
Mhm.
their life, like, you know, missing school for like almost more, sometimes more than a week, to, you know, being at home, so you're missing 7 to 10 days in a month, so then you're left behind as a student as well, you're not feeling as
Right.
confident in education.
Mhm.
And then, like, your family, like I remember asking the girl's mother, and you know, why did you marry her off so young? And she was like, well, she didn't used to study or like anything, like she wasn't really interested in like school or anything, so I didn't know what to do. And I was like, nobody like bothered to look into the root of the issue, that it was like a chain following her. And then um at 14 getting married to somebody, you know, like double your age or whatever, and then
Mhm.
getting pregnant like at 15 or 16. It's like it's a chain, and it's happening all around us. Like
Yeah.
even, for example, I used to live in the UK, and I spent several years of my life in Europe. So even in the UK, there weren't any proper like laws stopping like banning um, child marriage. And so even,
Mhm.
you know, in the more established countries, or the countries that we see as more established, um, there aren't laws protecting women and girls. um, and I try to make sure that when we are talking about, you know, like I mentioned, that it's a system, it's bigger than all of us, it's a system. And
Mhm.
most cases it's patriarchy that's like, you know, affecting women and girls, but it's also affecting men. And that's why it's so important to join hands and, you know, see it as a problem that's affecting all of us. So it's not, you know, when we're talking about women's rights, it's not just about women, it's about literally every human, because it's affecting, it's connecting, and it's affecting all of us.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is with, we live in a capitalist society and people are, are just all about making money. And the thing is, especially with, the fashion industry, with fast fashion, like everything is just so mass produced, like, there's not much, heart and soul into it. Everybody's just about making a buck, and also too with like, we live in an era also of social media and people are into sensationalism and, just because a celebrity yeah, yeah. Like, just because, like, say for instance, if if Gigi Hadid came up, came out with something, like a t-shirt line or something like that, or like, or Beyonce, people don't look at the quality of, the clothing. People will buy it because it's the celebrity, and they're well known. So, I think the whole aspect of, influence and, celebrity is so rampant now.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you're absolutely right about that. And I think sometimes we are missing the point. Like we are not even given a chance to like stop for a second and think, why are we going to buy this? Why are we going to consume this? Why are we going to be a
Mm-hmm.
part of this? And I think it's, again, going back to the system, it's really well structured. And I think sometimes we say, and I say it as well, that it's a broken system, but I feel like sometimes it's a really well structured system. Like it's not, it's well structured to make sure that it's trapping us and it's confusing us and it's not giving us time to plan and think. I mean, I used to live in the US and then I moved for a bit and then now I'm back. But honestly, like I was very reluctant to come back because, I was seeing all of these different topics in the news. Capitalism was also one of like dealing with people and knowing that like they will throw you under the bus over
Mm-hmm.
profits anytime. Like people over profits always. That's the mindset, like, that so many have.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it. I consider myself as a well-traveled person, and having lived in like different parts of the world as well, I have not seen it as at this level other than the US. So and then that's when like I get even more worried for like communities of color and non-binary people. It's like
Mm-hmm.
we are we are not in the majority. This country, though made by uh, people of color, like communities of color, though we have built this, it's not, the systems here are not exactly for us. So
Right.
it's very difficult to shake them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, exactly. Especially within the education system, because they're not going to tell you everything, like the real stuff, And especially when I was like in high school and middle school, there's a lot of stuff that they don't really teach you. They teach you like the westernized aspect of history.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's again, um, I think in the age of social media, it can be a blessing and a curse because then
Mhm.
you do have, your own resources to go and educate yourself. But yeah,
Mhm.
definitely like school systems, like overall, needs to be reimagined all over the world.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But I definitely want to switch gears and talk about Women Rise. So, with your collection, Women Rise, it highlights and celebrates women, in their different fields, especially from all walks of life. So, I definitely want to go ahead and ask, tell us about the process behind creating this collection, and what was like the reactions and conversations, just concerning the NFT collection's impact.
Yeah, oh my God. Women Rise is so amazing and it was so much fun creating it. So I had this idea like last year. No wait, last year was 2022. Okay, so we're in 2023 now. In 2021, yeah, so I'm still like it's gonna take me a while. There's a new year.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2021, I had this idea after my husband introduced me to NFTs, and it was it was just, he saw it as a way for me to expand my art. And um I had this idea to create, a collection that's like an extension of the work that I've been doing, and it's a bit true to what was the culture at the moment in NFTs. And and I had learned about generative art at the moment as well. So it was, really exciting and new, and
Right.
just kind of learning about it. And so, and I've like Women Rise collection, for example, I have 10,000 NFTs, and I am used to creating art like using my hands and painting on like, wait. big
No,
canvases like
on canvas. Right.
uh, and like on, or like even digitally, I'm using my hands to like create artwork.
Right.
So when it came to generative art and 10,000 pieces, I was like, whoa, that's gonna take me like 2 3 years to complete those 10,000 pieces because it's like so many, right?
Yes, so many. Yeah.
Um, but then I learned about generative art, and the idea was so fun, and it was like, oh, so I can create a certain number of eyes and lips and skin types and
Hmm.
um, like accessories and headscarves and hair and clothes and all of those different things. And the generator will create the artwork.
Mm,
Um, so though I created the assets, the generator mixed and matched different eyes and different lips and different, like all of those different things,
right.
and created the 10,000 NFTs. And that's what, Women Rise became. But before the project and after the artwork, there was a whole lot of process of building community. And we took 3 months to, build community and like talk about our mission and talk about our, um,
Right.
like what we're trying to do in this space.
Hmm.
That it's an art project and it's an extension of what I've been doing, and I want to share more of my work with people, and this is what my work is about, and let's have conversation about like these topics, and that's what the art is
Absolutely.
representing. And at the moment, sorry, at the time there weren't a lot of women-led projects at the time as well, and there weren't a lot of women artists. And that's the
Right.
problem, what we see like in traditional art as well, as I mentioned earlier in our conversation. But in the NFT space as well, it's not like, I think in the traditional art space in the US, 87% of all museums, or I think in generally in the space, 87% are all male and 85% of is white. So in the NFT space, I think there was a report that came out, but I think it's on Bloomberg Art,
Hmm.
um, and it was that 77% of the space is all male, which is like not so different than the traditional art space, even
Right.
though it's supposed to be new and exciting, and like it is new and exciting, but it's also like we shouldn't repeat the old patterns, right? So at the time there weren't a lot of female-led projects, and with Women Rise project we really campaigned to bring new people into this space. I
Hmm.
mean, at the time, 40% of the people who minted Women Rise had never minted an NFT before. So we were like, the team was sitting down with people on Zoom, on in DMs, helping them create wallets. We created like a whole education guide for the people. How can you create a wallet? What is Web3? What is NFTs? And it's still available on our website as well. Because we want to, whether you're a part of Women Rights or not, we want people to like get educated about this. And this space is exciting for artists. It's new for artists, and I think you should check it out.
Your collection is really, really cool. I really like how you really, cover all walks of life. And one of the things too, I like how you cover, Black women as well, like the first female astronaut, Mae Jemison. I thought that was really cool as well. But I definitely want to get into, and this leads me to this question. So you have released a book, such as Rise, Extraordinary Women of Color Who Changed the World. So tell us more about your book and why was it important for you to highlight women of color stories of achievement?
That's what I was looking at. I was like, can I grab a copy? But it's like high up. But yeah, Dr. Macy Jemison, like she is amazing, and I absolutely loved researching her life for Rise as well. So she's in Rise book as well, and
Mhm.
uh, Rise. So it's a project that I am most proud of,
Mhm.
and it's something that took me 2 years to complete.
Mhm.
Um, and actually, in early 2021 was the time when my husband was like, "Hey, NFTs, like, do you want to check it out? What it is?" And I was completing Rise at the
Right.
time, and I was like, "I don't have time for it. Like, I am so busy." Because Rise has 100 portraits in it and 100
Wow.
stories, and each portrait took me 2 3 tries to get right because I was drawing these incredible legendary women who are, you know, despite the barriers, despite the system being rigged against them, despite so many people saying no to their faces,
Mm-hmm.
they achieved heights that no one in their field has,
Mm-hmm.
man or woman, so and these are it was really really important for me to make sure that I am highlighting stories from around the world, so we're
Mm-hmm.
not just including stories of really really well-known women, though we have really well-known women in there as well, but these are
Right.
women from Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Indonesia,
Mm-hmm.
Mexico, United States, UK, like you name it. We have tried to include women of color from around the world, making sure, and different timelines as well. So we
Mm-hmm.
have from our time, we have women from history, and it was an incredible journey, researching the
Mm-hmm.
project,
Right.
interviewing the women, the contemporary women. Um, the artwork was a journey itself, and it was like I said, like it was. I am quite judgmental towards myself when it comes to art, and especially if you're
Mm-hmm.
creating art representing really these legendary, incredible women that I have
Right.
been looking up to.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing with Rise was, well, the first and the most important thing that I wanted to like have with Rise was that when you go to a bookstore, the
Mm-hmm.
bookstore has the same problem that the art industry and the NFT industry does. Not enough
Mm-hmm.
representation of women, not enough representation of women of color,
Right.
or just in general people of color. So
Mm-hmm.
when I was going to bookstores as well, I wasn't seeing myself. Neither was I seeing my friends. Neither was I seeing like I wasn't seeing like people that I was seeing around me.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Right.
there was if you have a moment, I can look up that study, but or I can
Mm-hmm.
email it to you afterwards. But it was I can't exactly remember, but it was like an insane amount of like 1% or 2%
Mm-hmm.
of characters were characters that were from communities of color in
Mm-hmm.
children, and that's insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it wasn't improving as much. Like
Mm-hmm.
so if our children are seeing that and they're not being able to see themselves as like astronauts and these superheroes and like different people, like how are they going to think, okay, we can be that as well? So it's really it's rise came into this world because of multiple reasons.
But I definitely want to, switch gears again and talk about, Qissa. So last year you announced a new platform that you'll be launching called Qissa, which will include stories of women and girls from around the world. Like, can you expand more about the platform and what can people can expect?
I love how this conversation went from Rise to Qissa, because Qissa is like it's literally like if Rise was a platform, So thank you so much for that transition. Um, Love that. So yeah,
Thank you.
Qissa is through different mediums, art, storytelling, short form videos. We're trying to make sure that we're expanding on telling stories of women of color from around the world again. So like we
Hmm.
have we have 100 stories. Now we want to have like hundreds of other stories that are
Right.
being told on our platform. So yeah, that's what Kissa is, and it's gonna be. I'm quite excited about it, and the team is really excited about it. And honestly, like the women rights team has done an incredible job, not just with the project, but with the Kissa platform. And
Hmm.
um, it's just launched, and
Hmm.
we are going to be doing amazing things with it.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Now, I
Mm.
want to ask this one question, like, is there anybody that you'd like to collaborate with? Any NFT artists or, anybody in particular?
So, does it have to be in the NFT space or like anybody?
It could just be anybody, just in general.
Okay. I think like there are so many different. Okay, oh my god. So I literally just finished my vision board for 2023 as well. It's
Right.
it's it's yeah. I am going in 2023 with a lot of ambition. So Riz Ahmed is an amazing actor, rapper. I really want to work with him. Uh, he's awesome. And okay, this is, I don't even know if this is like possible in any way, but I'm a huge fan of BTS, and I love their music. I think they're so cool. I think they're so talented, and their leader RM Namjoon. So he collects art, and I
Mhm.
would literally lose my mind if like sometime in the future, if like one of my art pieces is like part of his collection, I would just no, don't even talk to me about it. Like I'm gonna lose my mind. And Doja Cat, I want to work with her, maybe creating some visuals for her. I don't know, a music video, some I don't know something. Maybe an
That'd be
album.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, love her. So it could be, there's so many different things that I want to do, and on top of my list was having a conversation with Asia, and that's already happening. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a great honor, like I said previously before we started the interview. But I definitely want to go ahead and switch gears and talk about mental health. So within our generation, mental health is talked about more than ever before. And with being an artist, it's common that we struggle with balancing our professional life and our personal life. And we're wearing different hats on a daily basis. And you've created an organization called the Story of Mental Health. So tell us about this organization and the importance of mental health in our generation, especially with regarding social media.
Yeah, so mental health, I feel like, is something that I didn't always feel confident talking about because of my upbringing or the culture that I come from. Like, I feel like it was always um like mentioned in a way that
Mhm.
you're crazy if you're talking about mental health. Like, you're just it was just a very very negative word, the Urdu word for just like mental, like if you have like a mental issue or like any kind of mental struggle, the Urdu word for it is always said in a very very negative light. um
Mhm.
and so I never felt confident talking about it. And then it got to a point where I had to talk about it. And while art was my way of coping with some things,
Mhm.
I just was art, and even sometimes social media, like sometimes our words go out, or the content we create go out as a postcard, um, through our social media, that some of the messages that we're trying to convey to people. But with Story of Mental Health, I tried to like have a small organization to connect people to resources, and trying to make sure that we are feeling a bit more confident. And again, mental health in communities of color is not talked about. And it's from both sides. Systems don't want to talk about it, and communities of color, like, we don't want to talk about it. And
Mhm.
so much stigma around it. It's not encouraged. It's all like some, like, it's always blamed on some insignificant thing, like, I don't know, like you're using your phone too much. And sometimes, yeah, that's the case. Like, yeah, you are using your phone too much. Um, Stop using your phone, but that's not the only thing, right? Like, there are like deep rooted issues that can
Right.
impact you forever.
Mhm.
Um, so with social media, I definitely do recognize it. Like, sometimes your engagement is low. Why are you, like, you are feeling a certain way. I have been through that, and as an artist, it has impacted my creativity and not just my mental health. um
Mhm.
so I think with content, like creating content, creating art, creating videos, it's extremely fun, it's amazing, but do it at your own terms. Don't do it at the terms of like some algorithm. And
Right.
that's something that I'm still learning. So though in our generation, though we do talk about mental health quite confidently, and I love that. I still think we don't have enough resources out there to find that help. And I mean, yeah, yeah, in the US, like we don't have proper healthcare, and then
Right.
mental health care is like not, is it even a thing? So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I find it interesting because, I like how we're talking about it more often, but also too, like, I think there's some platforms starting to really talk about mental health. Like, there's been ads going around in regards to better health. So they say, hey, go to better
Mhm.
health. You get a therapist, you pay this amount of money,
Yeah,
but yeah, but within our communities, and especially in the black community, in my community, it's swept under the rug. It's like, oh,
yeah,
pray it away, get over it, so it's like, that doesn't help, it doesn't help you heal from, your mental, especially with trauma in general, that just doesn't help.
yeah. I mean, it's the same with what you said about the Black community is very, very similar in the Brown community as well. So that's what I
Right,
mean by like, that we are not paying attention to our own mental health, but at the
right.
same time, also like, they're within the medical health industry, like it's we are not given the enough resources either, like our similar to like our health, like our health is not studied the same way as like a white body. So similarly, like, even with mental health resources, I don't think there are enough resources out there for Black, Indigenous, or people of color.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, exactly. But I definitely want to get into like different women NFT projects because there are other NFT, women owned, women led collections such as World of Women, Power of Women by Leah Sams, Global Con, which is another women led NFT collection. So, what are some of your all time like favorite like NFT collections that are women led?
Yeah. Oh, okay. They're all amazing. So thank you so much for mentioning some of the most amazing projects out there. Power of Women, Leah, she's amazing. And I absolutely love her art. Leah is actually the artist for another project as well called Royals,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
you should check out that like anybody who's like in your audience that's listening to our conversation. It's an amazing project.
right.
And Leah as the artist as well. And then there's also Honey Badges by
Mhm.
Gina Anderson.
Yeah.
And yeah, the artist is also a woman, and
Hmm.
Sarana. And these are some of my favorite projects that are out there, and I think they're killing it. Then I have some individual independent artists that I am a huge fan of, and I think they're really going to flourish in 2023.
Right.
One of them is Kaval, she's a fellow Pakistani, an emerging artist. Another one
Mhm.
is Tanveer, again, like another fellow Pakistani. She's an art student in a National College of Arts. And
Mhm.
um, and there's also Fatima, and her
Mhm.
Twitter handle is like so funny. Um, her Twitter handle is Hobie Shorty. It's a reference to BTS. So the
Oh,
Hobie is like one of the BTS members. So that's also another thing that we connect on. But yeah, Elise Swaps is another incredible artist. She is at the top of her game. She is so amazing. Uh,
mhm.
Yaka is also incredible. So there are so many. I honestly make this a 3 hour episode. I'll keep on naming all of my fellow artists. They're all so talented, and of course you as well, Asia. Like your work is so amazing. You're creative on so many different levels, and it's absolutely insane. Amazing art.
Yeah,
You
yeah, thank
Your
you.
creativity is like videos and like so many. I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Now, I'm still learning the NFT space. I'm still learning the whole thing of NFTs and the Web3 thing, So, yeah, but Global Con is a great NFT collection, World of Women, Power of Women. I had a
Yeah,
chance to interview Leah Sands and she's really sweet, down to earth.
yeah,
She's absolutely talented. But yeah, there's so many artists. There's another artist, her name is Coco Stardust. and she has her own NFT collection. I think it's called Stardust Generation. So she's really, really talented too. And she went to
Okay, I need to check that out.
NFT. Yeah, yeah. So there's some cool artists out there. But I definitely want to get into AI because AI is getting popular.
Yeah.
So AI is gradually becoming more popular for certain industries, especially regarding NFTs in the Web3 space. Now, what is your perspective on AI, and do you think it'll hinder human creativity and authenticity in the creative world?
Hmm. I feel like with AI, we're probably more worried than we should be, especially when it comes to art and artists.
Hmm.
Um, from both sides. I feel like artists shouldn't just like how there's so many artists out there in the world and people on social media and like when you are putting your art out there, there's a special place for it out, like in people's hearts, in the market, on social
Right.
media, in galleries and stuff. So even with AI art, I don't think people are going to be like, oh, why should they buy artist work when there is AI art?
Right.
I actually spoke about this at during Art Basel, which was an interesting conversation. Um, and on the other side, people who are getting very kind of frustrated on behalf of the artist that, oh, like, what about the artist and all of that, all of those things. I feel like artists weren't honored even before AI art. So first, we need to fix so much more than to be scared of this new technology. And I'm talking about like, sorry, I'm talking about like galleries, and I'm talking about just in general, um, museums and
Hmm.
just art lobbies as well that exclude artists from so many
Right.
different spaces, and artists from a certain background and artists of a certain gender. Um, so first, those are the things we need to worry about. Then AI art,
Mhm.
because say I want to maybe use the example of Kindle versus like the real like book itself. There's
Hmm.
space for books, right?
Right.
But we also have like ebooks, and I
Hmm.
feel like there's space for both. So, like with each new technology, um, there's space for both, and I feel like even with the AI art, I think there are so many different ways of how artists can be creative, and it's valid. Like we shouldn't invalidate any artists who are trying to use AI art. But for example, for myself, I'm a traditional artist.
Hmm.
But when I was moving towards digital art a little bit, I did feel a bit like, will people see this as real art? Absolutely. Digital art is real art. Similarly,
Right.
AI art, depending on your process, is art as well. It just depends on like what is your process, how with what intention it's being created. Um and yeah, that's sort of like what I also feel like we're very, very early on to even, be kind of scared of AI.
Yeah, yeah, I could agree with that. Even though it's slowly getting popular, but I I think I found what's very interesting. We have Chat GPT, and then of course the Dolly. Where you give it keywords, it'll make something. So say if you want like a sandwich with mango in it, like it'll give you like just the picture of like a mango sandwich or whatever.
Yeah,
Or Chat GPT will give you a recipe of how to use bread and mango together.
yeah,
So we're heading towards that whole thing. Even just basic with like Twitter.
yeah.
You go on Twitter Space, you click on the closed caption, it automatically just comes up with what you say before you kind of even say it. So it's crazy how advanced technology has become.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's absolutely insane. But in many ways, it can be helpful as well, and it's
right.
becoming a resource for a lot of us.
Yeah, exactly. I could totally agree with that wholeheartedly. Now, what's next for Women Rise NFT?
Yeah, so we just launched Qissa, so we're just going to keep it, moving forward. We're going to be telling stories from around the world through it. we just launched our new website. Check it out. It's really, really fun and playful. And like the team really worked hard on that. And um, we are also working on our education initiative, and we
Mm,
can't wait to announce it soon.
that's awesome.
But yeah, that's, like, we're really excited about that. And at the end of the day, it's an art project, and
Mhm,
that's where our soul and heart is. And we're going to be moving the art forward. We're going to be
mhm.
having conversations with our community through Qissa, through our platforms, and that's what Women Rise is all about.
Mm. Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. Now, what does Maliha Abidi's career and lifestyle look like in 10 years?
Hopefully a bit calmer, um, with better mental health and more sunlight. I mean, I'm in California now, so it's
Right.
sunlight, but
Mm,
um, definitely a bit more calmer where I am creating art, um, not for an algorithm, but just for myself and my people.
mhm.
And creating art for things that I truly care about, similar to like what I'm doing right now, but just like a
Right.
bit more calm and, not worrying about too many things and running around, and hopefully better mental health.
Mm.
And um, having achieved like things that are on my list, and I think I will, because yeah, I'm working really hard, and I'm an ambitious person, and I'm an ambitious artist. So yeah, loads to come.
All right, that sounds really, really cool. So, last but not least, where can people find you on social media and how can people support Women's Rise and how people can get involved?
Amazing. So with Women Rise, you can find us on womenrise.art. You can find all of our socials linked on our website. You can get involved by just, keeping up with us on social media, keeping up with what's coming on Qissa, supporting different stories of real people that are coming out on Qissa. And that's how you can get involved. And you don't need to buy any token. You don't need to invest any money or anything, or put any money anywhere, even within the NFT space, to get started. So I always try to welcome people in the Web3 space, and yeah, that's how you can find us.
All right, that's really, really cool. Well, thank you so much, Malia, for jumping onto the show. Like, this is such an incredible conversation. I really enjoyed, talking about, activism and art. And, you're just a very well rounded person. I love what you stand for. And, I really appreciate this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Asia. I'm a huge fan of you, and you're amazing. And this was such a fun conversation as well. So thank you so much for having me on your platform, and thank you everyone for watching this.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye bye. Check out Malia's book, Rise Extraordinary Women of Color Who Changed the World. Now available on Amazon, Thrift Books, World of Books, and other platforms. Also, check out Journey to America, celebrating inspiring immigrants who became brilliant scientists, game changing activists, and amazing entertainers. Now available everywhere. Hello, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to click the bell for notifications. Also, follow me on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, visit my website, ASIATHABIRD.com, and look out for more interviews involving NFTs, crypto, Web3, and the metaverse. Take care.